Honored guests, University Marshal Joy Bostick.
The 2024 Commencement Convocation ceremony of Case Western Reserve University is hereby convened. Please remain standing for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. And now the President of Case Western Reserve University, Eric W. Kaler.
Thank you. Anthony Zograve was who you just heard sing that national anthem so beautifully. Anthony, thank you so much for being here. It is indeed my honor to be with you this afternoon to congratulate the undergraduate, graduate, and professional student members of the Case Western Reserve University class of 2024. Congratulations. We welcome everyone, graduates, guests, members of our esteemed faculty and staff, distinguished award winners, university trustees, and honorary degree recipients. And I'm also especially pleased to welcome today's speaker, Dr. Vince Cerf. And to those of you watching us via live stream, we're so glad you've been able to tune in. There are several members of the Board of Trustees who are with us today. Trustees Sarah Mall, Ron Richard, Larry Sears, and our board chair, Fred DeSanto. Fred has served on the Board of Trustees since 2012, and his extraordinary support of the university is evident throughout our campus in athletics, student scholarships, and at our health education campus. Fred is a double alum. He received his undergraduate degree and his MBA at Case Western Reserve University. During his undergraduate years, he was a member of the football, basketball, and baseball teams. In fact, he's the only university athlete to earn a total of 12 varsity letters. Today, Fred is chairman and chief executive officer of Encora, a leading wealth management asset firm. So Fred, thank you for your leadership and for your continued dedication to Case Western Reserve University, and I would be pleased to ask you to say a few words.
Thank you, President Kaler, and there's a little bit of tradition because I think this is my fourth one, or maybe third one. I want to get President Kaler up here, but I also want to get Provost Ward up here because this is her first time as being a provost at the university. What I usually like to do, because I send this to all my friends that I graduate with Case, they cannot believe that I'm chairman of the board, so I got to get some evidence. So I do a selfie. So you guys do whatever you want behind us. All right, Joy, come on. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I would like to congratulate all our graduates this afternoon. I also want to acknowledge and welcome our faculty, staff, distinguished guests, and everyone joining us on live stream. Case Western Reserve University has evolved in many ways since its origins in 1826. But what remains central to this university and what still guides us today and every day is an enduring commitment to students across all aspects of learning, research, and campus life. My hope for each of you is that your experience at Case Western Reserve has prepared you to move forward with confidence, compassion, and curiosity about the world and its people. After all, those are the qualities that would lead you to make bold discoveries, to improve lives, and to become agents for change in the world. We hope that you stay connected to Case Western Reserve in the years to come. Again, congratulations.
Good afternoon. I am Joy Ward, the Provost of Case Western Reserve University. Each year at Convocation, we honor the recipient of the Frank and Dorothy Hummel Hovorka Prize. Established in 1994 by the late Mrs. Hovorka, a leader in the arts and community, and an honorary member of the university's Board of Trustees. The award honors the late Frank Hovorka, who was, for many years, a distinguished faculty member in the Department of Chemistry. This honor is awarded to a faculty member whose exceptional achievements in teaching, research, and scholarly service have benefited the community, the nation, and the world. Today, I am pleased to recognize the 2024 recipient of the Hovorka Prize, Hetsuo Ashida. Professor Ashida has spent nearly 50 years at Case Western Reserve. In that time, he has built a reputation as a global leader in the field of polymer science. And he has pioneered 2 groundbreaking discoveries that have greatly impacted the field of polymer-based materials. Before 1980, understanding composite polymer interfaces was quite uncertain. Then, Professor Ashida's discovery of a reinforcement mechanism transformed the field, leading to the establishment of the International Conference on Composite Interfaces and the Journal of Composite Interfaces, both initiated by Ashida. Continuing his pioneering work, Professor Ashida introduced a new class of polymers in the early 2000s, the first since the 1980s. These versatile materials, known for their flexibility, show promise in industries such as the automotive industry and in aerospace. Professor Ashida's impact extends far beyond his research. He has mentored nearly 200 students, many of whom have excelled as professors and as industry leaders. The recent Ashida Symposium honored his distinguished career, celebrating his legacy and key role in advancing polymer science and in education. President Kaler, on behalf of the Hovorka Prize Committee, I present Hetsuo Ashida.
Congratulations. The President's Award for Visionary Achievement recognizes individuals who have distinguished themselves through significant and exceptional support to Case Western Reserve University. Recipients of this award have demonstrated a history of prominent philanthropic engagement and service that benefits our campus and the broader community. This year, we are honored to bestow this award upon Sarah Mall. Sarah is a triple alumna and member of our Board of Trustees, and she has dedicated her professional life and her philanthropy to simply helping others. She earned her first degree, a bachelor's degree in psychology, in 1966. After graduating, she and her husband, Kurt, started a family. Sarah stayed at home, raising the couple's 4 children, and Kurt served as the CEO of MTD Products, Incorporated. Now, when Sarah was in her 40s, she returned to Case Western Reserve University to earn her master's degree and then her PhD, also in psychology. Sarah says that Kurt's partnership and support was a critical component to her success, both as a student and as a professional. Sarah became a psychologist and clinical faculty member here at Case Western Reserve University. She also worked at the Ohio Department of Mental Health, and she founded Laura's Home Woman Crisis Center in Cleveland. And last year, Sarah and Kurt pledged $23.5 million to partner with the university on a $60 million investment to launch the Sarah and Kurt Mall Institute for Mental Health and Well-Being. Sarah, we're proud that you're a Triple alum, and we're so grateful to you and to Kurt for your continued support and generosity.
Congratulations, grads. This has been a real special day and upcoming week for you. You've worked hard. You've deserved this occasion of celebration. It's a time to feel really proud of your accomplishments, a time to also be thankful for those who have laid the groundwork for you, because this institution is a wonderful institution of higher learning. Your degrees will open doors for you. We owe thanks to the founders. In 1826 will be coming up now, just less than 2 years to our bicentennial. And it's that foundation of those founders and those faculty and staff that built the institution that we are enjoying today. And we couldn't be more blessed than we are with our current leadership, staff, faculty, administrators. We're a healthy organization. So with that, I would just say, keep gratitude, number one, in your mind. I am grateful for the opportunity I've had to come as a 20-year-old bride from Dallas to transfer to complete my last 2 years at this university. I thought that would be the end of it when I graduated. I was very interested in our family, and there's no greater joy than raising a family, but they do grow up. And I found that in my 40s that I felt that I had some calling to do some other things, and that required me to go back to school. So when people say to their alums, you can always come back, we laugh, but we may want to come back. I also really had opportunities as a result of my degrees to be able to do things like Laura's Home and then to be on the Board of Trustees. But none of that really would have been possible without my husband, Kurt. He has been just a wonderful support and a committed partner. One of the things I think you learn in kindergarten is to take turns. And my husband really demonstrated that when I went back to school. He started picking up carpools and making dinner with our daughter and all kinds of things so that I could study. We took turns. There are a lot of lessons that you'll learn through life, but I think the one I want to leave with you that is, I feel, the most important is nurture a heart of gratitude. It will make all the difference. It will make you see the positive lining when things don't go well, because you'll realize what you do have. Maybe some things you lose, but other things you gain, new opportunities and a positive outlook. So just keep that in mind as you commence and begin the next stage of your life. Be grateful, and may God bless you in your journey. Thank you.
Now it's my privilege to introduce our newest distinguished university professors. These faculty members are internationally renowned in their fields, and they are deeply engaged in the life of the university. They advance their fields through discovery, scholarly work, and service to our national and international organizations in their areas of expertise. They also advance Case Western Reserve University through their teaching, mentoring, collaboration, research, and service. The title of Distinguished University Professor, as you might expect, is the single highest honor the university can bestow on a member of our faculty. And in the program, you will find detailed biographies of each honoree, and I encourage you to read about their remarkable achievements. So, distinguished university professors, when I call your name, please step forward as I share a bit about you and your accomplishments. Provost Ward will place the medal around your neck. First is Fabio Comenelli. Professor Comenelli was named a Distinguished University Professor in 2023, but he was unable to attend Convocation last year, so we honor him today. Professor Comenelli is a world-renowned gastroenterologist, physician, and clinical scientist at the School of Medicine. His findings have led to changes in the treatment for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, and to development of several FDA-approved drugs used to treat those conditions. Professor Comenelli is the principal investigator on several National Institutes of Health awards, and he has attracted more than $30 million in funding since 2008. He's mentored many students, residents, and fellows in his lab, and he has trained more than 150 clinical scientists from around the world. Professor Comenelli, for your many contributions to science and research, and as an educator and mentor, for your commitment to discovery and treatment, and for your dedication to Case Western Reserve, it is my great honor to confer upon you the title of Distinguished University Professor. Congratulations. Next is Hillel Cheel. Professor Cheel is a professor in the Department of Biology at the College of Arts and Sciences. He holds a secondary appointment in the Case School of Engineering as well as in the School of Medicine. Professor Cheel studies how the brain and body work together to generate adaptive behavior. He's known for his use of computational modeling and experimental approaches to research. In 1997, he set the standard for collaborative problem solving in a review he co-authored with a computer scientist, which was published in the journal Trends in Neurosciences. Colleagues say that Professor Cheel is a dedicated mentor and teacher, an influential writer, and an outstanding scientist. So, Professor Cheel, for your contributions as a scholar, scientist, and mentor, for your scholarship in biology, neuroscience, and engineering, and for your dedication to Case Western Reserve University, it is my great honor to confer upon you the title of Distinguished University Professor. Congratulations. Our next Distinguished University Professor is Mitch Drum. Professor Drum is the Connie and Jim Brown Professor in Cystic Fibrosis Research at the School of Medicine, and he is internationally recognized for his pioneering research on cystic fibrosis and for co-discovering the gene that causes it. He is also among the earliest investigators to explore gene therapy for inherited human genetic disorders. And importantly, this research led to the development of a drug that extended the lifespan and health span of many people living with cystic fibrosis. In 2015, Professor Drum initiated the formation of the university's Research Institute for Children's Health, which studies rare genetic diseases in children. So Professor Drum, for your contributions as a researcher and mentor, and for your commitment to improving patient outcomes and advancing scientific knowledge, it is my great honor to confer upon you the title of Distinguished University Professor. Our final honoree this afternoon is Jonathan Stamler. Professor Stamler is the Robert S. and Sylvia K. Reitman Faculty Foundation Distinguished Professor of Cardiovascular Innovation at the School of Medicine, a professor of medicine and of biochemistry, and director of the Institute for Transformative Molecular Medicine. He's also the co-founder and president of the Harrington Discovery Institute at University Hospitals Health System. Professor Stamler is a groundbreaking physician-scientist. He is credited with discovering protein S nitrosylation, a biochemical process that controls the functions of proteins and regulates biochemical and physiological functions in the body. Many of his discoveries have had a direct application to improving the understanding of pathophysiology and of disease. Professor Stamler has a reputation for entrepreneurship, and his colleagues share that he's a leader who inspires emerging scientists and researchers. So Professor Stamler, for your many contributions to science, medicine, and research, for your commitment to discovery, and for your dedication to Case Western Reserve University, it is my great honor to confer upon you the title of Distinguished University Professor. Congratulations. And again, congratulations to each and all of our distinguished university professors.
Mr. President, on behalf of the Honorary Degree Committee of the Case Western Reserve University faculty, it is my distinct honor to present candidates for degrees honoris causa. The first candidate is Terry Fulmer, recipient of the degree of Doctor of Nursing honoris causa. Terry Fulmer has committed her professional life to caring for and enhancing the well-being of older adults. She is the president of the John A. Hartford Foundation, an organization dedicated to improving care for older people. She is known as a leading expert in geriatrics and a pioneering researcher on elder abuse and neglect. Her groundbreaking work has led to the development of national programs and catalyzed the age-friendly health systems movement. She has served as Distinguished Professor and Dean of Health Sciences at Northeastern University, and she was the founding dean of the New York University College of Nursing. Earlier in her career, she was a visiting professor of nursing right here at Case Western Reserve University. Dr. Fulmer is widely published, and her impact on geriatric nursing is unparalleled.
Terry Fulmer, for your exceptional and transformative work in geriatric nursing, and on the recommendation of the university faculty and the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to admit you to the degree of Doctor of Nursing, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto, to bestow upon you the hood of this university and to grant you this diploma.
Mr. President, on behalf of the Honorary Degree Committee of the Case Western Reserve University faculty, I present Judge Dan Polster as a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa. Judge Dan Polster is a United States District Judge for the Northern District of Ohio, a position he has held since he was appointed in 1998 by President Bill Clinton. Before his service as a federal judge, he was a federal prosecutor in Cleveland, first as a trial attorney with the Department of Justice Antitrust Division, and then as an assistant U.S. attorney. In addition to his judicial duties, Judge Polster is engaged in the community. He serves on the boards of the Jewish Federation of Cleveland and the Mandel Foundation, among many other community areas. At Case Western Reserve, he holds an adjunct professor appointment in the Department of Political Science, teaches a class in judicial politics, and he is a member of the advisory committee of the Siegel Lifelong Learning Program. Judge Polster's dedication to justice, education, and community service underscores his multifaceted contributions to society.
Dan Polster, for your many accomplishments as a member of the judiciary and for your dedication to service to the community and to the field of law. And on the recommendation of the university faculty and the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to admit you to the degree of Doctor of Law, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto, to bestow upon you the hood of this university, and to present you with this diploma.
Mr. President, on behalf of the Honorary Degree Committee at the Case Western Reserve University faculty, I present Vinton Cerf as a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Engineering, honoris causa. Dr. Cerf is Vice President and Chief Internet Evangelist for Google. In this role, he contributes to global policy development and continued spread of the Internet. Dr. Cerf is widely known as one of the fathers of the Internet. He earned this distinction because he co-designed the communication protocols and architecture of the Internet while working at the Department of Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, otherwise known as DARPA, in the 1970s and early 1980s. Indeed, Dr. Cerf's work has shaped the way all of us in this room communicate. He has served in executive positions at MCI, the Corporation for the National Research Initiatives, and DARPA. He also has served on the faculty of Stanford University. Dr. Cerf's list of distinctions is quite impressive. He has served as chairman of the board of the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, founding president of the Internet Society, and he has been a visiting scientist at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He also serves as an advisor to the U.S. Department of Energy, the National Science Foundation, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the Department of Defense and NASA. He is a member of both the National Academies of Science and Engineering. Dr. Cerf was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the U.S. National Medal of Technology, the Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering, and the Library of Congress Living Legend Medal, among others. And on top of that, in 1994, he was identified by People magazine as one of that year's 25 most intriguing people. Dr. Cerf holds 29 honorary degrees, but President Kaler will now make that 30.
Vinton Cerf, for your many accomplishments in technology and engineering, and for your dedication to advancing the Internet as a tool that connects human beings, and on the recommendation of the university faculty and the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to admit you to the degree of Doctor of Engineering, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges pertaining to bestow upon you the hood of this university, and to grant you this diploma. We're delighted to have Dr. Cerf with us today. As Provost Ward just shared, Dr. Cerf is an accomplished engineer, that's an understatement, who found a solution to a problem, and in doing so, he laid the foundation for that little thing we call the Internet. I suspect he has some good stories to tell and advice to share. We're honored to present Dr. Cerf today as our commencement speaker. Please join me in welcoming him to the podium.
You know, when people clap before you've said anything, you should just sit down because it won't get any better than that. The President Kaler, members of the faculty, distinguished guests, and the class of 2024, ladies and gentlemen, it's with considerable humility and gratitude that I address you today. First of all, I want to congratulate all of the honorees, and especially the class of 2024, for getting to this point in your careers. I imagine that many of your parents and you both are experiencing exactly the same feeling, relief. But now what? There isn't any syllabus of life, so you're going to have to figure this one out on your own. Sometimes when I'm invited to come to events like this, I feel like I'm the talking dinosaur. And the thing that's amazing is that the dinosaur can still talk. Doesn't matter what I say. That the part is amazing. You know, when President Kennedy gave his famous speech, he said something which is very important to every one of you. He said, "We do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard." And we and you have many challenges ahead, and some of them are really hard. Global warming, for example, is confronting us with a really tough challenge in every dimension possible, whether it's scientific or engineering or political or financial. Political unrest is an issue that we all experience and something which we are going to have to contend with. That's another hard problem. You know, today we have very, very powerful computational resources coming to our aid, things like machine learning and artificial intelligence. And in fact, more generally, as I have discovered on this campus for the day, that computational X for every conceivable value of X is becoming commonplace. Computing has become central to almost everything we do, whether it's research or business or entertainment. Of course, what has captured a lot of our attention is the recent development of large language models. And I have to give you a little story about my experiment with one of them. I won't say which one. But the large language models are amazingly articulate, as many of you have probably discovered. So I decided to test one of the chatbots to get it to write an obituary for me. Now, I know that sounds kind of sad, but I thought this was a legitimate test. First of all, I figured that those large language models would have been exercised with data from the internet, and there are lots of obituaries on the internet because people pass away every day, and people write about them. So, and I figured there's a little information about me on the net as well, and so I figured that was a reasonable thing to ask for. So, in fact, this system generated a fairly reasonable 700-word obituary. It started out, as you'd expect, "We're sorry to tell you that Dr. Cerf passed away." Then they gave a date, which I thought was way too soon. I didn't like that very much. And then it went on to describe my career and my family members who were left behind. But in the course of describing my career, it gave me credit for things I didn't do, and it gave other people credit for things I did. And when it got to the family member part, as far as I could tell, it made up family members that I don't think I have. Either that or I just never knew about them. So I remember scratching my head trying to figure out, why would it do that? You know, what's wrong with these things? They're trained on factual material. How could they produce counterfactual output? And I'm not an expert here, so I don't want you to misunderstand, but my speculation is that when these chatbots, these large language models, are trained, they're really just taking words out of a huge amount of text, and they're noting the proximity of words, or they call them tokens, to each other. So you can imagine President Kaler's bio and my bio might be on the same web page, and the system is plucking words out of the web page and estimating what the probability is that they might be concatenated or nearby each other. So when the system generates output, it generates it statistically, and it's possible to understand why it could make these mistakes, because it doesn't have the context that this is President Kaler's bio in this little paragraph, and this is Dr. Cerf's bio in a different paragraph. It just mixes them all together. Now, I'm sure that's only a cartoon explanation, and there may be some experts sitting here in this room who will tell me my model is a little weak. But that's how I've been able to understand why these systems make the generative output, which is counterfactual. So we really need to work on this, because if we're going to apply these large language models, we need to constrain their ability to hallucinate, which, by the way, is the technical term associated with that. So you know, I look a little bit like Sigmund Freud, and I've been thinking I should shoot a video that starts out something like, well, what we have now is the artificial id and the artificial ego, and what we are missing yet is the artificial superego to control the uncontrollable impulses of the artificial id. And then I'll take out a cigar and say, well, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Well, we have work to do. We have serious work to do here. And I think what you will bring to us as we confront all these various hard problems is fresh eyes and fresh perspective. I have personal experience with this. I've been at Google for almost 19 years now, and I guarantee you that I am older than almost everyone in the company. That's been my long-time aspiration, is to become the oldest employee at Google. But let me tell you what the side effect of that is. I have these young people who come up and they say, why don't we do X for some value of X? And I'll think, you know, we tried that 25 years ago and it didn't work. And then I have to remind myself there's a reason that it didn't work. And the reason is probably wrong now because things change. Computers are faster, there's more memory, they're cheaper. There are all variety of reasons why trying X again might make a lot of sense. So I have had to reset my own thinking more than once. Now, some people come up and they say, what should I do in my career? What should I study? And I have now come to a firm answer to that question. It's astrophysics. You might wonder, so why astrophysics? Do you know that 100 years ago, we thought we knew everything there was to know about the Newtonian universe, and all we had to do was measure the physical constants more precisely, and we could predict everything that was going to happen. And then Einstein comes along and he blows up Newton. And then the quantum theory people come along and they blow up Einstein. Then the string theory people come along and they blow up the quantum theory people. Here it is, 2024, and what do we know? Well, we know about 5% of real matter. That includes matter and antimatter. We know about that. We have a pretty good model for that, the fundamental basic quantum model. And then there's this other stuff called dark matter. What's that? I don't know. Well, we have a name for it, but we don't know what it is. But it keeps the galaxies from flying apart. And that's about 25%. And then there's, what's this other stuff? Dark energy. What's that? We don't know. But it's 70% of the mass of the universe. Remember, Einstein told us mass and energy are equivalent. So we don't know about 95% of the universe. So of course you'd go into astrophysics. Anything you do is going to get the Nobel Prize. So I'm going to share some lessons with you that I've learned in the course of my career. Number one, if you want to do something big, get help, especially from people who are smarter than you are. Second, learn how to sell your ideas, because you'll never do anything big if you can't sell other people to want to do what you want to do. It's sort of like, you remember Tom Sawyer is trying to get the other guys to whitewash the fence. Boy, this is really fun, and you'll get an apple core out of it. Another very important fact for you to hang on to for your entire life is only you can decide what you can do. Do not let anyone else make that decision. That's your decision. So here's some free career advice. Number one, choose to do something that you do really well. Second, you should like doing it. And third, you should be able to make a living at it. If you can satisfy all three of those parameters, you will have a really good career. Another thing that I would say is while you're still young, you can take risk because there's plenty of time to recover. So I'll give you two examples of some dumb mistakes that I made in my career, which fortunately other people prevented me from succeeding in making. I was a graduate student at UCLA. I did my PhD on parallel processing, but I worked on the predecessor to the internet, the ARPANET, and I was invited to return to Stanford. I'd been there as an undergraduate. They asked me to come up and join the computer science and the electrical engineering departments in 2 different schools. And I said, no. And they said, why? And I said, because I was there as an undergraduate, and I know how smart those people are, and I don't have anything to teach them. Well, they wouldn't take no for an answer. The phone was ringing off the hook, and eventually Don Knuth, who was a god in my universe, calls and says, you have to come up here. No is not an answer. So I came up to Stanford, and I do not regret this, because that's when Bob Kahn and I started working on the design of the internet in 1973. So I'm working on this thing for a few years, and it's starting to come together. And the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which is funding this research on the internet, calls and says, why don't you come to Washington and just run this whole thing? And I said, no. And the reason I said no was that I knew that this was going to be, I didn't know it was going to be the big deal that it actually is, but it was still a very, very visible project. And I thought, you know, if I screw this up, it's going to be really visible and I'm going to be really embarrassed. So I said no, and they did not take no for an answer. And so as a result, I ended up moving to Washington, D.C. almost 50 years ago to run the internet program for the Defense Department. And I've stayed there and gone on to other careers ever since. So don't say no, go ahead and take the risk. 2 other things before I close. I think more than ever, we need you and we to exercise something called critical thinking. And the reason we need that is that it's so damn hard to tell what's true and what isn't, what's factual and what's counterfactual, given all of the information that we get from many, many sources, including the chatbots that are hallucinating. So we need to learn how to think critically about what we see and hear. Finally, the older generation, that would be a lot of us on the stage here, are relying on your clear thinking, your ambition, and your determination. May your lives and your careers blossom. Thank you.
Thank you, Vint, for those words of wisdom. You shared a lot of good life and career advice with our graduates, and I certainly second your lesson that doing big things requires help. Surrounding yourself with good people makes all of the difference. Again, thank you for being here. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Bassel Yassin, President of the Undergraduate Student Government.
Good afternoon. So first, I want to say how unbelievably proud I am of all the graduating students sitting in this room. You've accomplished countless things and have so much to be proud of. But there's still one thing I want to ask you. A question I asked myself many times throughout these past 4 years, and it's why the hell are you still here? You went through so many troubles in college. And for what? The answer for some is pretty simple. To gain an education, to further your careers, to go against the grain, to be the best person that you can possibly be. But look around you at all the unavoidable evil out there in the world. Theft, racism, discrimination, poverty, famine, starvation, murder, corruption, war, genocide, then that's just naming a few. The troubles of the world are so great, you begin to question what a person really is. Human or animal, man or savage. All it takes is one person with nothing but hate, anger, pure unfiltered evil to take away all of the good from a community, from a society. So why even try? Why subject yourselves to all that you did, all the challenges that you went through, when it all might just be for nothing? Well, I'll tell you why. Because in this room, I don't see that anger, that rage. I see helping hands, striving to uplift communities. I don't see that lack of compassion, that true disregard for others. I see kindness and empathy for all. I don't see that fear in your eyes, that dread of hopelessness. In its place, I see flames of passion, the desire to push beyond boundaries. I don't see savages. I don't see monsters. I see pure-hearted, genuine human beings. You want to know why you came here? Because you are brave, because you are courageous. Because when others succumb to the pressures of the world and claim that their efforts were meaningless because life sucks, or the world's unfair, or that none of it matters, faced with all this negativity, you chose to pass your limits. You chose to keep pushing on. So what if we can't solve poverty? What if we can't stop war? We're a generation that's lived through these atrocities. We've seen wars. We've seen acts of terrorism. We've seen genocides. We've been through a goddamn pandemic, for crying out loud. We went through it all. And despite that, you still wake up every day and find reasons to smile. And now you want to tell me that something's not possible? The saying's cliche, but it still stands true because nothing is impossible. We'll be the generation of change with the ones that actually do it right. To start a commotion but without the violence. We'll be the shield, not the weapon, the builder, not the demolisher, the bridge, not the chasm, the shelter, not the desolation. We will be the change. So get out there. Apply yourselves to your fields and push back against the notion of infeasibility. Pass policies that help address economic inequalities. Develop new surgical practices to lower mortality rates. Discover drugs for previously incurable diseases. Act as negotiators for nations besieged in war. Anything that you can do to help. You can even help out guys like me. And finally make peanut butter jars wider instead of taller so when I'm scooping out that last little bit, I don't get peanut butter on my hands. Let me tell you, just thinking about it peeves me off. Really, anything you can do. As long as you just help one person, that's what matters. So keep on striving for more and more. And one day, maybe just one day, we can finally say with certainty from the most sincere parts of our hearts that the world is just, the world is fair, the world is whole. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck out there.
Thank you, Basil. I'm now pleased to welcome Francesca Veras, President of the Graduate Student Council, to share a few words. Francesca.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you all here today. Congratulations, graduates, you made it. I hope you are all as thrilled, relieved even, as I am to be here. Here we are. I've wondered all year what I was going to say to you. I've thought all year about what I was going to say. I was hoping to say something meaningful, original, but nothing really great came to mind. So being a good law student, I decided to rely on precedent. In his commencement speech, USG President Yassin tasked you all to strive, strive, strive for yourselves, for academic achievement, for excellence, and for the future that's within your grasp. And you've all done so exceedingly well. You've striven, achieved, and excelled. But what about the future? There's still more to do, because even as you leave this institution, your future is always ahead of you. Oh no, you might be saying, what is she going to have us do now? I ask you all to endure. Endure, endure. School feels like a sprint, or at least it did for me the last few weeks. But of course it's not. The act of learning, applying, and mastering your profession takes dedication and time. Having discipline and dedication in your studies probably wasn't the easiest decision, more than a few times. But in those moments, you invested in yourselves. And it doesn't happen in a vacuum. You're also a human being on the planet Earth in 2024, and you've had to make it to class through rain, sleet, and feet of snow. The world keeps spinning, and times keep coming, seemingly embossed with tragedy and ultimatums. But you must endure to weather the storm and find yourself in the calm that follows. You are all seafarers among seafarers in search of the uttermost, because that is what excellence demands of you. That is what drive and potential bring into being. Never forget that your drive and endurance has already brought you this far. Now, I'm a law student, so numbers are not my thing. But I'm willing to bet that there's 1,000 aggregated years of experience and education in this building. When I think about the kinds of things that human beings can accomplish in 1,000 years, I'm inspired. And when I think about the things that you have all done in just a few, I'm in awe. But when I think about the things you're going to go out there and do in the future, well, I'm honored to be counted amongst you. Congratulations, graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. And now I welcome Dean Fazekas, President of the Alumni Association of Case Western Reserve University, to share some remarks. Dean, please.
Thank you, President Kaler. On behalf of the Alumni Association, it is my distinct honor to extend an enthusiastic congratulations to all our graduates and to welcome you to our newest members as you join more than 120,000 alumni across the country and around the world. As you take the next steps on your journey, you will undoubtedly continue to build on the legacy of Case Western Reserve University alumni. One of excellence, innovation, service, and leadership. Our Alumni Association is full of people like you, people who are exceptional, hardworking, committed, and aware. We encourage you to stay connected to each other, to the university, to its faculty, students, and staff. Visit our website for updates. Join our new career mentoring platforms and follow the Alumni Association on social media. We want you to be actively engaged as alumni, just as you were as students during your time here. Importantly, our alumni give back. We honor those who paved the way for our successes and pay it forward to the next generation. Remember, you have a home at the Linsalata Alumni Center, and I hope to see you in November at our homecoming, and whenever your travels lead you back to Cleveland. Again, on behalf of my fellow alumni board members, our heartfelt congratulations. We wish you all the very best, and may you always shine on.
Thank you, Dean, Francesca, and Basil. Before we close, I have some brief acknowledgments to make for a few members of the platform party, and when I call your name, I ask that you stand. First is Chuck Rozak, our Vice Provost and Dean of Graduate Studies. He has led the School of Graduate Studies since 2004 and has been with the university for more than 40 years. He'll retire at the end of next month. He's unable to be with us today, but I know he's watching on the live stream. So Chuck, we thank you for many years of service and wish you well along with your wife, Sue, in your retirement. Next is Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer John Sedaris. John will retire from the university at the end of next January after holding his position for 17 years. John, thank you for putting the university in the financially strong place we are today. We wouldn't be here without you. I also want to recognize the co-deans of the School of Law, Jessica Berg and Michael Scharf. Together, Jessica and Michael have led the School of Law for more than 10 years, and again, together, they will step down this summer. They've been exceptional, dedicated advocates for the law school. Jessica and Michael, thank you both for your leadership. And finally, I want to recognize J.B. Silvers. J.B. has been a part of our university family since 1979. He served in various faculty and leadership roles, most recently as the interim dean of the Weatherhead School of Management, and he will retire at the end of next month. J.B., thank you for all you have done for the university. We wish you success and joy. Before we move on to sing our alma mater, I want to share my congratulations once again with our graduates. Each of you has shown up, done the work, and challenged yourselves time and time again to be your best. And perhaps most importantly, you've been there for one another. Those are valuable lessons you will carry well beyond your time here. Again, congratulations, and we look forward to celebrating with you further in the coming days.
And now would you please rise and join us in the singing of the alma mater, which can be found on the screen. Our alma mater will be led by Case Western Reserve University's premier co-head a cappella group, Case in Point.
Shine on forever, Case Western Reserve, loyal and true are we. Your brave sons and daughters, your knowledge we use to make our mark on history. Our school days will cherish forevermore, a lifetime of friends from the start. Shine on forever, Case Western Reserve. You'll be forever in our hearts.
Honored guests, this concludes our ceremony. Remain standing at your seats until the academic procession exits the Veal Center. All are welcome to join us for a reception on Van Horn Field. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your commencement week activities.